Group homes, I would say, I think are just, for the most part, a negative. I've yet to hear a good thing about a group home. Teenagers often can't find homes. People just don't accept them as foster kids because it's just too much of a liability. You don't know how these kids are going to behave, and it's dangerous. And so they go to group homes. And these girls, I mean, I've talked to them. They get beat up. They get harassed. They, are completely alone. There's so little support for them there, and they have begged my mom to take them and to get them out of these places because group homes are, I would say, from what I've heard of them, really, really awful. I've never had a good experience with one.
I mean, as far as reuniting with the original parents goes, that is sort of the ultimate goal of foster care.
My parents will take in these kids who have come from broken homes or homes that it wasn't a good situation for the child to be in, and they just temporarily take care of this or take charge of this kid, hoping that the parents can get back on the right track and be good parents. So it's definitely a tricky situation that they find themselves in a lot. But that's why I really respect my parents, because they deal with a lot of stuff. I mean, between social workers, between parents who, when I was home last time over break, we had parents of foster kids come to our house and just spend days there, just because they wanted to be with their kid. And then my parents kind of have to walk this delicate line of being in charge of the kid, but also respecting the parent who's been an abusive parent.
I think that's also a struggle in the sense that you become really attached to these kids. They become part of your family, and you're torn because you love them and you want them to be with you, but at the same point you see their attachment to their parents, you see their attachment to their siblings, so it's you're very emotionally drained because you don't know how to feel about it. You know that it's good for them to be with their families, but that's I think the main problem with the foster system is that these kids are in your home for so long. There's so many different types of abuse on kids, and Esteban, who we adopted, his story I think is the most painful and striking. He was found abandoned in a homeless encampment, and just talking to the kid, you hear things they would pour hot sauce down his throat as punishment, or they'd lock him in a dark room for long periods of time.
Situations in his life, and really show us to be grateful for what we have, because we tend to be even more negative than this kid, and we've been through half the shit, so excuse the language, but reunification was very difficult with Michael. He really developed a strong connection with me for some reason, and I think he just really liked having an older brother. But then the day that we had to let him go, he was hanging onto my leg, kicking and screaming, saying, "Ollie, please don't leave me. Ollie, please don't leave me." And his mom's like, "Come on, Michael, we're going home." And it's really hard to be yeah, this is what's best for you, but at the same time have this kid who's finally found peace and happiness in his life go back to something that might be not the best. But it's very tough to have someone become an integral part of your life, and then one day, bam, you barely ever see them again.
Be that figure that can provide some affirmation to those kids. I think that could be incredible.
Ultimately, the best way to help would be foster a kid. How many foster parents are there out there? There's never enough to keep these kids off the streets.